Have you ever gone to a carnival late at night? Seen floodlights illuminating the red and white striped tents that seemed to kiss the night sky? Heard the joyful laughter and screams that seemed to fill the whole area? Tasted the lingering remains of sugary delight from the candy floss that was too tempting to pass by? Smelled the lingering stench of perspiration masked by the heavenly scent of greasy goodness that wafted from the many food stalls? Have you caught the slightly off undertone of earth, musk, and rot intermingling and tried to follow it? Many have tried, but very few succeed in actually finding the source of the smell. Those who succeed find the scent to be coming from a rather peculiar tent. It's worn and gray with holes littered all around. Some are simply satisfied that they found the source and wander off, forgetting that it was there, while the more curious ones tend to linger before pushing aside the flap to view what was inside, a dark residue staining the hand that opened the very flap. Have you seen her, the red lady? The lady in red? It is said that she is able to see the past, present, and future with some silly cards she always has in her hands. They were peculiar, with how the images on them depicted animals, peculiar and disturbing, for with every beautiful image there was always a gruesome image of skeletons and gore within another. However, what was even more peculiar was the one holding those strange cards, the lady in red. It wasn't her appearance, or the exuberant way she spoke, but the way she could see through others and determine if they were good or bad. Those who she deemed were good were given good fortunes and lived out their lives well, while the others seemed to disappear altogether after a while.
Come in, come in. Welcome to the humble abode of Madame Red, the famous fortune teller.
She would gush, limbs flailing sporadically. They would shuffle in, skepticism heavy on their brow, but curiosity over the strange smells and knickknacks that were stuffed inside would draw them closer. It was a hoarder's dream come true. Their attention would eventually stray back to the lady they originally found inside the tent.
Yes, please sit.
She would indicate towards the area in front of her.
And don't mind the skulls. They don't bite.
She would pick one up to relocate, before quickly setting it down behind her with a hiss and a barely audible
Much.
They would always look at her like she was a nut, when in all honesty, she was a brilliant piece of work. She went to look at them and blinked her eyes, nice and slow, trying to make them big, before she would ask.
Would you like me to read your fortune?
They would usually scoff or roll their eyes, believing it was a scam, and sometimes they would even try to leave. But she always brought them back by saying,
You only have to pay if it comes true.
They would stay. Then, believing that even if their fortune did come true, that she would never know, and they would keep their money. She would then begin to shuffle her cards. Over and over, she would shuffle and reshuffle them once more, the rhythmic tune hypnotizing, before she would stop. It was scary how she would always find those 3 cards for every soul she deemed unworthy. The Fool, the Devil, and Death. She would speculate, her face scrunched up into contemplation, before focusing back on the being before them, turning the card and showing the image of a baby chick standing on a tree trunk with the words, "The Fool," written underneath.
The fool. Naive thing that believed themselves to be clever and witty, new to the world and all the things inside of it.
Her gaze would linger on them, making them squirm, before continuing. Flipping another card over, she would then show the image of a goat set on fire, with the devil on the bottom.
The devil. A deceitful mastermind that hides their true meaning of the words while still speaking the truth. They are more than what they seem.
She would trace the edges of the devil card lovingly before turning the final card. Her eyes would then pierce theirs.
Death. Death, the end of all things, and new beginnings. The final rest. Nothing and no one can escape them, and all debts are paid and truths revealed, for death knows all.
She would then finally set down her cards and leave, never turning back around. What most wouldn't know was that this was a final test. Those who heeded the warning inside the cards and simply left would find themselves with small increments of good fortune. However, those who ignored it and let their curious hands roam free, smudging the black residue that was stained on their palms to unknowingly spread to what they touched and took, would eventually disappear. I have never had the pleasure of meeting the Lady in Red myself, but I have heard her voice and seen the outcome of those who cross her. The dark stain on their hands branded on their skin like a curse. Oh, I see I touched a nerve. No need to squirm. You see, I am the one she sends to collect what she is due. And like the devil said to you, you little fool, death has come to collect.